Is your Lord and Savior. You are God's child. When you are putting other things in front of God, He's going to be jealous. He's going to let you know that He's jealous. Do you think if some girl, if this was ever happened, which I doubt, but if some girl were to be flirting with me, do you think Teresa would just sit by and be quiet about it? Catherine, what do you think? I'll ask Katie.
She'd throw some hands.
Yeah. She'd be throwing something, I can promise.
Someone's going through.
I know my wife. Something would be flying. I don't know what it would be, but something would fly. So the point is, she's going to let it be known. It's the same thing with God. If you're His child and you're putting something in front of Him, if you're paying attention, He's going to let it be known to you that He's jealous and He's not liking what you're doing. Okay? Make sense?
Yep. So, so that's why lots of our time in our culture, jealousy, we think of as not righteous. And it can enter sin. Jealousy can be ugly and not good.
What's the nickname for jealousy? Anybody know?
The little green monster.
The green-eyed monster.
Yeah. But for God, it's a righteous jealousy, and there's a difference. God does not sin. So it's holy, all right? So really, God knows that He alone is what is best for us. And we will never find joy. You're never going to find satisfaction, fulfillment in anything. I mean, you might for a time, but will it last? Well, all that, even video games. It might be fun for a while, but then do you get tired of playing that one game? Or no, you got to go with something different, right? It's just a part of who we are. You're never going to find fulfillment, satisfaction, joy in anything other than in who? In God, right? So you can.
Okay. So God gets jealous. God gets jealous when we're putting other things in front of Him because, right? He knows what's best for us, right? It's the same thing it's not the same thing, but it's a slightly different thing, but it's close to the same thing. When I try to tell you guys, when Jeff or I or your parents or any other adult in your life tries to give you advice and say, don't do this, because we know the outcome, we know what's going to happen. Like, I know if Ryan keeps doing what he's doing, the handle's going to break and he's going to fall flat on his face.
I'll do it anyway.
And so, Ryan, you really shouldn't do that. But when Ryan does it anyways, I'm going to stand here and laugh and say, I told you so. But the point is, it's, when we tell you guys things like don't date people who are not Christians. I've seen it happen. I know it doesn't work, right? When we say things like, don't have sex before you get married, right? I know the consequences of that, right? How many of you guys remember 5 years ago when I had cancer?
Who could forget?
Right? Okay. My cancer was HPV related, which means it was an STD, which means I got that because I fooled around as a young man. I didn't get saved until I was 32 years old. Right? So, that was a direct result. Gosh, probably 20-some years later, I ended up with throat cancer. Okay? It is what it is. I have to deal with the consequences of my sin. Okay? So when we tell you guys, don't do things, when God says don't do things, it's not because He's a big, mean guy up there not wanting you to have fun. It's exactly the opposite. Jesus said what? I came to give you life and give it to you more abundantly. Right? Not, I come to take away all your fun. God never said that. Right? God wants us all to have fun. We had fun tonight. You guys have fun tonight? I had fun tonight. Yeah. Right? So when we put other things in front of God, God gets jealous, He gets upset, because He knows what's best for us. Way better than even I know. I may think I know what's best for Ryan. Ryan's my son. And I got to pick on Ryan because he's my kid. But
Chris is your kid. Wow.
Okay, I can pick on Chris too, but
I'm your kid.
I know. I may think. They're all my kids, you know that. I may think I know what's best for them, but who ultimately knows what's best? God, right? I kid you not. I had somebody come to me. I had somebody come to me a few years ago, and I'm not going to tell you who because most of you know who this person is, so I won't say who. But I had somebody come to me and say, I'm really upset. I feel this is what God wants me to do, but my parents are fighting me tooth and nail with this. This is a prominent family in our church. And I said, okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to pray, and then you're going to go back and you're going to ask your parents to pray about this. And we're going to see whose heart God changes. Because God's either going to change your heart or He's going to change your parents' hearts. Right? Guess whose hearts got changed? Parents. The child knew better because the child was in tune with what God was saying. Parents thought they knew, but the parents were just going by emotion. Right? They weren't going. So once the parents started praying about it, then all of a sudden it got changed. So, and the parents got on board, and the person went off and did what God called them to do. So, we don't, even as parents, we don't always know what's absolute best. Yeah, right.
He told me, that individual, through that experience, that he learned that Satan will try to use the people closest to you to discourage you like that.
Absolutely.
Not all.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. Satan will use the people that are closest to you sometimes to try to discourage you, to try to derail you, to try to get you to worship something other than God. So you just got to keep that in the back of your mind. You have to, only you know, right? Only you guys know in your heart, you know, where if what you've put in front of God. If you're putting things in front of God, and you know you're not feeling right about it, then
I drank a Monster on the way up here. It's really hurting me.
it's killing me. So if you're putting things in front of God, thanks, Ryan. That's way to crest the Holy Spirit right there. All right. So how is the gospel, the message of salvation, a demonstration of God's jealousy for all of the glory? Why should we be thankful for this?
You already Ephesians, I got it.
You already-
Ephesians 2:8-9 says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast." So really, do we have to do anything? We don't, do we? Because who did everything? Jesus. God did everything through Jesus, right? So that's pretty cool because we don't. It's not anything that we do. It's all that God did, and because He did it all, He gets what? All the
He gets all the
glory. All right. So that's pretty much what they wanted us to talk about today. Then they want us to end in prayer.
Right.
It is.